Hey there, and welcome to the Do Life Big podcast. This podcast is going to be your jam if you want to live to your full potential and don't believe in half-assing anything in your life. If we want to do life big, that means we've got to get out of our own way because we only have this one shot to make it awesome. I'm your host, Kathy, and I'm a mom of three whose BFF is cold brew, a retired school teacher turned online entrepreneur, and an author. I'm loud, bold, and will always keep it real. I'm determined to live my best freaking life possible, and I'm here to help you do the same. I'll be packing this podcast with tips, motivation, inspiration, and strategies to finally get you where you want to go. And we will have a ton of laughter along the way because, let's be honest, we can't ever take ourselves too seriously, right? I'm so excited you are here with me today. Now let's get this party started. Hey, my friend, what is up? And welcome back to another episode of Do Life Big. I hope that you are having an awesome day so far. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I think that you're really going to like this episode today. If you're an online entrepreneur who has been at an income plateau, and specifically this episode is going to be for online entrepreneurs who are perfectionists. You tend to struggle with the procrastination, and you've been at this income plateau, or maybe just this lull in your business. Maybe you've even reverted backwards, and you're also someone who really just wants to have your very first six-figure income producing year, and it just doesn't seem to matter what you do. Every time you tend to try to move yourself in the right direction, it's like you're taking 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. So this episode is going to be focused around that perfectionism and procrastination and how we can move away from that so that you can finally start to get the results that you want in your business without constantly being in this battle between overanalyzing, overthinking, this analysis paralysis, and how we can just work through this. So enjoy today's episode because it's going to be a really good one. You know, I was someone who I built a multiple six-figure business in a space that's known really for its high failure rates. Network marketing, direct sales, it's known for its high failure rates. Not that many people, or I should say, it's not the norm that people have that success, right? And as I reflect back to that period of my life, I think about how I didn't even know what the hell I was doing. like I seriously had no idea what I was doing. I knew nothing about online business. I knew nothing about online space. I didn't have an Instagram account. I didn't even use Facebook. I just would scroll it every now and then and see what other people were doing. And yet here I was in this new role as an entrepreneur for the very first time, solely getting started into that business as a way to just earn a couple $100 every week to keep me home with my 2 babies at the time so that I wouldn't have to return to my teaching career and put them in daycare. And I am thinking back to that time and how I was able to have such fast success. And now when you talk about perfectionism, I do struggle with that. I struggle with that. I do struggle with procrastination. And I remember thinking back to when I started and how badly I wanted it to work. I really needed this business to work, that very first business to work. It was my back was against the wall. If it didn't work, then I was going to be a complete failure. I was going to regret not doing whatever I could in my power to make it work so that I could live my dream, which was to be a stay-at-home mom and not miss out on the moments with the kids. And so when I sat down to build that business, I didn't have time to perfect anything. Like if I go back and I scroll back to the things that I was posting on social media and the things that I was saying and just the way that I was talking and my videos on my YouTube channel, oh my God, it's painful to go back and watch that, right? But the point is that you have to start somewhere. And the longer that you postpone doing what you know that you need to do, the more fear that's going to be built up inside of you. And then the more fear that you have, it's just going to feed that whole identity of, you know, this isn't perfect, so don't put it out there yet. Or, oh, I don't really need to do this now. Let's do this instead. I can do that another day. And then the procrastination keeps coming in. And then the whole idea of this action that you need to take becomes so much more scarier than it should be. And it doesn't need to be, just because you've got wrapped up in this perfectionism mentality or the procrastination mentality. And the more that you can put yourself out there and do it anyway, the quicker you're going to overcome that. And then you're going to build so much more confidence. I think that's one of the misconceptions, is that people say, oh, well, I wish I had your confidence, or, oh, if I only could be as confident as she is or as he is, then I could finally go and have success at this business, or then I'd be able to put the live video out there, or then I'd be able to create the 6-figure business, or actually grow my income, and I wouldn't have all these no's and I wouldn't get all these rejections. And that's not how it works. The confidence comes from taking the action that scares you. The confidence comes from all the rejection, from all the no's, from all the failures, from all the times where you've tried things and it didn't work out that way, all those opportunities that gave you a chance to learn from. That's how confidence is built. No one ever just wakes up one day and they're like, hey, awesome, I'm super confident, time to go build that business, right? That confidence is built over time. And every single entrepreneur who you know, or who you look up to, or who you follow on social media started there. And they chose to put the content out there, even if it wasn't perfect. And they didn't let themselves get in their heads. And what I've noticed over the last 10 years, after coaching hundreds of women now, I've noticed this trend. And I've noticed this trend on really why so many women end up stuck for far too long below this 6-figure mark, right? You hear everybody talk about it. Oh, I would love to build a 6-figure business. Oh my gosh, I'd be stoked if I could have that kind of an income. Oh my gosh, that would be life-changing for us. Oh, then I could finally quit my full-time job and do this business full-time, or then I'd be able to retire my husband, or then we'd be able to take that family vacation, whatever it may be for you. And you hear people talk like this all the time. But this trend that I noticed over the last 10 years of why people stay stuck for far too long below the 6-figure mark boils down to perfectionism. It's this perfectionism and procrastination, and it is such a vicious cycle. You might find yourself doing this, or some of these things that I'm going to give right now as examples, where every time you go to post, you rewrite the post at least 3 times, only to then decide to just delete it and then not post it at all. After all that self-doubt starts to creep in. It's that constant battle of trying to get it out there, overanalyzing it, rereading it. Oh, that's not good enough. Then thinking in your mind, well, what are my friends and family going to think? Will people think I'm a fraud? What if I get 0 responses again? And all of these thoughts start to go through your mind. And then you waste hours on something that really should have only taken you a few minutes, right? Can you relate? How many times have you done that where you were so excited to put a piece of content out there, or you really knew, okay, this is what my client needs, this is what they need to hear, and you sit down to do it, but you battle with that internal dialogue and that self-doubt and those negative thoughts and those limiting beliefs, and they all creep in, and then they keep you stuck. And in the end, nothing ends up getting done productive in your business to move it in the right direction. Or you're constantly jumping from idea to idea, which then turns into you never really fully executing on anything, because you're all over the place. You're like a squirrel, right? Chasing the shiny object, always chasing the next big trend or funnel. They're constantly looking at what this person is doing and what the other person is doing. And, oh, this is working for this person, so I should do that too. Or, oh, this is how this person's website looks. I should rebrand my entire website because they're successful and I want to be successful. So therefore, my content needs to look identical to theirs or pretty similar if I want to have success too. And then you spend your time focusing on those things, or what the latest marketing hack is that's going to work in any economy. You're just all over the place with it. And I'm going to tell you something right now. The reason why far too many people stay stuck below the 6-figure income mark and never really get there comes down to something so much deeper than just getting the next funnel or getting the latest marketing hack or whatever it is. Because there's a reason that every time that you go to put something out there, you only really do it halfway. You never give it 100%. Like, there's always a part of you that feels like you're holding back, even if it's just a little bit. And these are only just symptoms of a much deeper problem. And it comes down to a root cause that, if never really addressed keeps you in this perpetual loop of busyness, but no traction in your business to grow it. And to fix this, you have to learn how to retrain your brain. You have to learn how to break the mental habits that your brain is using to keep you safe. All of these habits that you have right now, the way that you think, the thoughts that go through your mind, that has all been programmed into you, and you've learned it through habit. And so we need to relearn, retrain our brain to learn new habits and new ways of thinking so that you can finally break this cycle once and for all and get the result that you want in your business. Actually have a growing business. And until you retrain your brain to escape this relentless cycle of perfectionism, you will stay stuck in the procrastination and crippling imposter syndrome. And that feeling completely sucks. You'll be forever riding that revenue roller coaster where you make a little bit, then it goes backwards. Then you make a little bit, it stays consistent for a little while, and then it flatlines and goes backwards. Never really producing the income that you know that you're deserving of and that you really want. You have these big goals and these big dreams, but you're always held back a little bit and you can't seem to figure out why. And it's because you need to learn how to retrain or rewire your brain for success. So it's going to come down to more than just you reading a few self-help or personal development books. Those are great, but that's not going to fix this. Diving into tons of personal development and listening to new podcasts and investing in trainings and reading the next book that the other entrepreneur who's having success is reading isn't going to fix this problem. And I know this because I've been there. And I also know this because I've coached hundreds of other women who have tried this and it doesn't work. I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm saying it's not going to be the solution to what you really need here to get to the root cause of this income plateau. And this is why it's so important. This is why I created my whole Mindset Accelerator program, because that's what it teaches you how to do. And I noticed through these 10 years of coaching all of these other entrepreneurs that this was the missing link. And I remember being at that income plateau for a 2+ year period and having to learn how to rewire my mind for success. And once I learned how to do that, that was when I had my light bulb moment of, oh my gosh, I don't want to see anybody else go through the pain and struggle that I went through for that long ever again. If only I had known then what I knew at that moment, then I wouldn't have had to go through that long plateau, that income plateau for that 2+ year period. And so that's why I developed that program. And what I want to make sure that you don't miss out on is a completely free training that I am going to be hosting on May 30th. It's on May 30th. It's at 11 a.m. You can get yourself registered for it at kathyreuter.com/join unleash, all one word. I will put it in the show notes for you. You can register for it. It's completely free, but I'm going to dive really deep into this in my free live training. And it's a 5-step reframe framework that I am going to teach you. And it's literally going to show you step by step how to rewire your brain for success. And so just a quick little recap, some of the things that we're going to cover inside this training is the secret to finally being able to create your very first 6-figure year without having to grind away on your phone or your laptop and miss time with your family and friends. You're going to also learn the most critical hidden mindset that sabotages your success and how to avoid it. And also how to switch from shrinking your goals to match a smaller belief and instead build a big belief and set big goals. You know, that's my mission, is to help more people be able to break through this. And so if you're listening right now, or if you know a friend who is an online entrepreneur and they really struggle with this perfectionism and they can relate to some of the examples that I just shared, or they really struggle with procrastination and overthinking and overanalyzing, and their income in their business is not growing the way that they'd like it to. It's flatlined, or it's like the revenue roller coaster up and down, or it's gone backwards, then they need this free training and it will help you so much. And I'm going to show you my proven method to retrain your brain to succeed as an entrepreneur without having to hit burnout in the process. I think that's really important too, because I think we all know of the entrepreneur, and I am guilty of it myself when I look back on the past, where we just feel, well, if I just keep grinding away, if I just keep pumping the well, if I just keep showing up, if I 10x everything that I'm doing, if I just work more, work harder, work longer hours, then I'll finally be able to get the results that I want in my business. And we know that hard work does not equal income, because we all know hard workers who are broke and struggling right now. And I remember what that was like, to be grinding away, hoping that it would change the result in my paycheck every week, and it didn't do anything. Nothing changed in my business, and I wasn't able to break through that multi-six-figure level until I learned how to rewire my brain for success here. So get on in that training. I'll put it in the show notes here. It's a 1-hour free live training. It's at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm so excited to help more of you. So I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. If you liked it, tag me on Instagram, and I will see you the next time. I love you. I think you're awesome. And thanks for being here. Bye. Thanks so much for listening in. I really appreciate you choosing to spend your time here with me today. You totally rock. Hey, listen, if you loved today's episode, go ahead and tag me on social and go share this with a friend right now. Like, do it immediately before the day gets ahead of you and you totally forget. Couldn't be more pumped to be on this journey with you guys. Go make today awesome, and I will see you the next time.